Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the fray, and the home of the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the US of A. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
Okie dokie, we're back. We had a um, problem 2 weeks ago. We had some thunderstorms move through, and there was a lot of electrical garbage in the air, so I lost the computer. I couldn't get it to fire back up. All it do is bring up Dell and then blank screen. So I had to get a hold of my technician, and he couldn't make it up right away. So I come down here the next day and I played with it, and I finally got it going. My I guess it is the BIOS file had gotten corrupted because of the static electricity in the air, and so just by accident, when I turned the computer power back on and got it to fire up, as soon as it said select 12, I hit 12, and that brought the thing up, and then I just went down and reset the defaults on all the BIOS, and finally got the thing going again, but not in time to do the show. Plus, the other fact was Radio DJ would not shut off, if you remember, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 shows. It would not shut off, so I had to get my technician up here, and we went through and changed some settings, and I think we will know tonight in about an hour whether or not the Radio DJ comes back on. So let's just cross your fingers. And I see we got all 2 guys in here. Anyhow, guys, kids, I've been enjoying the weather when it's not too hot. When it's been hot, I've been sitting under the air conditioner. Plus, when I am able to, I've been going up to the undisclosed location. We are technically finished with the outside of the undisclosed location, other than painting it. We've got the water taken care of. It's only a temporary thing. The line that comes from the pump into the trailer had a hole in it, so it was bubbling up through the ground. So we dug it up, fixed that part. Fortunately, we decided not to fill it in because we didn't want to have to dig it up if we didn't get it fixed. Well, we got that leak fixed. Well, the very next time we were up there and we tried it, we had another leak in the line. So we just decided that for the time being, it's not going to hurt nothing to use just a good old-fashioned garden hose. My son went out and bought a 100-foot heavy-duty garden hose, and we're just going to lay it on. We've got it laid on the ground, so we now have running water in the undisclosed location. And I have been busy down here at the shop. I got a couple 3 gun shows coming on. I just finally got confirmation that the Chapmanville Fire Hall will be allowing us to have a show November the 6th and 7th. That's where we've been putting one on. So now I have 3 going on in the fall. I got one this weekend coming up at Cherry Tree, and then I got one coming up the October 30th and 31st at the East Mead Township, and that, by the way, is 50% sold out. And now I got Chapmanville the week later, and I'll be picking the flyers up tomorrow and start to distribute them. So hopefully it will fill up, because I've had a lot of old timers or people that come to the shows want to know when the next Chapmanville show is, and I said, well, it's basically been up because of the pandemic. It's been up to the fire department to let us know when they're ready to go ahead. So we fun got it. Fun got it. We done got it. So we we was going to start putting that one together. Yeah, I see. Got three lookers tonight. That's good. Text everybody that you know and tell them to tune in, guys. The more people we get to tune in, the better. I'm flying alone tonight, solo. Mr. T is still having his um, problems, and Scotty Grinnell is got to go back to work tomorrow and on vacation, and um, so he couldn't make it tonight because he has to get up early. It looks like he may end up having to go into the COVID unit. They had to reopen it up there where he works because there's been a giant upswing in the um Chinese virus. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and being loyal and patient. And hopefully, we got this program or problem with. We have the problem fixed with Radio DJ. We won't have any more problems, and we should be able to go the way we want. Yeah, COVID 1984. Um, you know, if you listen to this program, you've heard me say over the years that if you watch Hollywood, pay attention to Hollywood, what Hollywood is doing in the movies, they're telegraphing you stuff that comes on, what's coming down the path in the future. Remember the movie Outbreak with, I believe it was Dustin Hoffman? Okay, and then of course we have the one with The Walking Dead. But so that's at least two. And if there was not if I can remember, there was another one that took place inside a research center in the United States, and it got out. And I can't think of the name of that movie. I remember the movie, but I can't think of it. But yeah, I thought you guys would remember. Oh, we got a new listener tonight. I'm glad. At least that's the first time I've seen your chat that you sent me there, guy. I appreciate that. I know we still ain't seen no Walking Dead up here either. That must be because these all vegetables and they planted in the ground waiting to sprout. So, anyway, I hope you guys have had a good week. Welcome home 777. Okay, I need some more information on that welcome home guy. Have you been out of the country doing stuff for the military? If so, I appreciate a little note from you telling me that where you've been. Not that I'm nosy. I just like to have a little bit of how I say, extended handshake or friendship out there, even though it'd be a long reach. And then if you were in the military, I don't want to sound mundane because I was in the military years ago. I didn't see any combat, thank God. But I want to thank you for your service. Any veteran out there that's listening, I don't care what war you were in. I don't want to sound mundane. I don't want to sound like I'm placating or you like a lot of these people are out there. I want to thank you for your service. And I know some of us don't feel we need to be thanked, but there are some that do. And those that do, we thank you. Okay, G.I. Joseph, who you calling crazies? Everybody knows I'm a lunatic, and that, even the federal government thinks I'm a nut. So anyway, I have several stories that I want to try and cover tonight, but I'm still just a little. I can never get the show going the way I want to get a rhythm down. So I don't want to sound like I'm sitting here blabbing all day long. But uh, I am presently working on a 1,000-piece order for a friend of mine and a very good friend of mine. And I'm not going to mention any names, but um, you can do what you want. Anybody that's listening to this show, you can do what you want about taking the vaccine. I know there are people out there that are wanting to that are taking it, and there are other ones out there. The problem has been, or as I see it, is if abortions are a person's choice because it's their body, then why is it not getting the vaccine my choice because it is my body? So think about that. So, oh, yeah, okay, The Crazies was a movie. Okay, thank you. Like I said, when you post stuff out there, because I don't get around that much to see everything, because I have my head stuck up my ass so far sometimes, I try to stay busy. So, when I'm not staying busy, I'm in a lot of total pain. And so it kind of slows me down and stuff. And sometimes I've been known to go to bed early. Sometimes I've been known to get up early. There's no rhyme or reason. I do. So, so anyhow, with this debacle called Afghanistan, this so-called pullout was another chaos. And I don't have the story in front of me because that was put on, I believe it was WorldNet Daily or else Newsmax.com. That I don't think I have it. Let me scan this stuff here, and you guys go ahead and chat to yourself a little bit. And I got a lot of political shit falling out because of what the states are doing. And, you know, okay, I don't have that story, but here's what it just of. Here's what it just of. It seems that the suicide bomber that bombed the airport and killed 13 U.S. soldiers was on target. In other words, he had been targeted. They knew he was coming. The drone that was had him targeted. Um, the operator was ready to fire, but his commanding officer told him not to fire. Um, so, like I say, you got to read behind the lines. So anyway, with him not giving the order to pull the switch, 13 American soldiers died and untold numbers of other people were wounded. So that officer should be court-martialed for, at the least, dereliction of duty, um, or just plain incompetency. But I'm not in the military anymore, and I don't have any rank, and that just stands to me that that's what should be done. And if any of you want to go out there and check, you probably will find that story. I think it was either WorldNet Daily or Newsmax. Those are the two places I normally get a lot of information from. Yeah, 169 Afghans, yeah. And so when and some of the military, high-ranking military people are a little pissed off that they weren't allowed to complete their mission because not all the American citizens were rescued from or evacuated from Afghanistan. And so consequently, there has been some civilian efforts to pull Americans out of Afghanistan, and I got stories about that. And then I don't know if those planes have been given the clear to take off, but the last time I checked, there were 6 planes on the tarmac at the airport that have not been allowed to take off. And they do believe that they may be holding them people as hostage or something else. But all I can tell you is hang on to your hats, kids, because there's already talk from high up officials in our government and the CIA and the FBI that we are about to see a increase or a new assault on America. Remember here about a month ago, or maybe a little longer, where the guy went into I think it was a shopping center, maybe a dollar store or something like that, and fired a few rounds at people, then left and went down to the local police station and went in there and shot up the place. The FBI has classified that as a terrorist attack. That's from the FBI themselves. They classified it as a terrorist attack. They feel that he was inspired by the debacle in Afghanistan. So, if that is the case, he was here before that shit happened. How many are here? Did I try this again? How many other ones are here and waiting for whatever orders to come down the pipeline to them? So, Joe Biden says, come on, man, that was 2 weeks ago. Well, yeah. Joe, you gotta learn, sometimes time flies fast, and sometimes it thinks like it's dragging on. And if you're an idiot and pulling the stunts that you've been pulling in this country, it's going to drag on for you. And we are finding that not dragging on for us, it's moving fast. The demise of our country is moving fast thanks to Joe Blow Biden. Well, Emmy, you are pretty close to being right. Because I know Biden is trying to convince 80 million of those who haven't taken the vaccine to take it. And he's pushing dictatorial powers through the use of so-called executive orders to twist big industry to make it so if you don't get vaccinated, you are subject to dismissal or have to be tested twice a week. And if the companies with 100 or more employees don't do that, they can face a fine of, I think they said $14,000 per incident. So blackmail, all right, So, to say the least, what is in that vaccine that they are not telling us, that they're willing to take away your constitutional rights to determine the stuff for yourself or what have you? Why are they so anxious? I know they're talking about delaying the booster shot until the first of the year, and I see there's another so-called variant over in Africa that they're afraid it's going to come out, and I can't think of what they call it. They have a name for it, which means that if we don't shut our borders down, we ain't going to bring this so-called epidemic under control because of how many people they've allowed to come in that have been untested and unvetted that have been sick with the virus and going automatically just put on a bus and shipped off to some city and dumped on the streets there and what have you. I know what it's all about. It's about killing off one section of the population, which would be the seniors, and filling up the Democrats or Republicans, and then filling up the ranks of the Democrats with the illegals coming in across the border, and then give them blanket citizenship so that they can vote. Oh, with the Democrat plan, you don't have to be a citizen to vote in our election. So if you want to vote in an election and you're over in Spain, for example, send in a mail-in ballot. They'll count it. And that, so. Boy, you guys are getting active tonight. Well, better late than never, Jack. Okay, next month, something a little lighthearted here. Next month is the month when a lot of places have their beer fest. Okay, they call it Oktoberfest, but do you really know how to pronounce that? It is pronounced "Okay to Beer Fest." Okay. Remember that Oktoberfest is okay to Beer Fest. Well, I see we got kids coming in here, chit chat and welcome each other back. Hey, I'm glad to see that. Of course, you all know the statue of Robert E. Lee was taken down. What gets me about that is when they were doing the story, they said Robert Lee statue is going to be taken down. It's going to be taken to another place to be set up for people can view it. Well, then what the hell did you take it down for? It was already in a place being viewed by people. Oh, I know. It's because it was in a city park. This would probably go off somewhere in a park where city residents would have to definitely go there instead of being automatically forced to see it when they walk through the city park. And I've always said, if you don't like something, that's your business. If you want to look at it, don't look. If you don't like it, don't like the looks of it, don't look at it. Okay? If you don't like what people have to say, then don't listen to them. But don't destroy our country over a bunch of communist insurgencies. And that's exactly what all this shit is about, is communist insurgency to destroy this country, and they are gaining ground. And from what I see of Biden, if the Congress does not replace him soon, we'll be in real big trouble. Already I see now companies are lining up to start leaving this country and build factories over in China. What was that one? Jack, you may know this one. There was a company to make baseball hats. I think up near Cleveland. I may be wrong. Okay. No, maybe not Cleveland, but down near, where's the Baseball Hall of Fame? Akron. They employed about 450 people, I think. They make the hard hats for baseball and stuff. Well, they're moving that production line to China. So now American baseball players will be protected by Chinese helmets. And I was reading something else. No, there is no government that can save us, nor is there any government that's going to want to save us because the idea is to destroy us, Emmy. That is the idea. The only ones that can save us is the people themselves. Okay? Of course, if you read the Constitution, it states right in there the people have the right. It's just a question of whether they got the stamina, or not stamina, but the courage and the balls to stand up to tyranny the way it is. And well, I didn't see that one. G.I. Joseph, who are the two? I need your personal ID for quality control purposes only. Yeah, who are you? It's just like that talk of the pushing the house to house search for those who have not taken the vaccine. And a lot of people will say, well, gee, how are they going to know? Well, that's why it's called house to house. Because it'd be just like doing the census. They go house to house so they can count how many people, and they'll ask you if you had the shot, do you want the shot? And we have the shot with us. If you don't take the shot, you're going to get shot. So you won't get COVID one way or the other. Yeah, Joe or Jack. Oh, you got trolls now there, Emmy. Well, that's good. We must be on the map. I wonder if I got any trolls out there listening and haven't been saying anything. If you are, go ahead and say something. We don't care. Maybe we can straighten your thinking out, like the government has been brainwashing you all these years. Okay, I started to talk about Robert E. Lee. All right, let's that'd be it. Come on, damn it. The statue. This is off of Newsmax, and this was printed this out on Monday. A statue of Confederate Civil War General Robert E. Lee that towers 6 stories over Richmond, Virginia, and was a centerpiece of protest over racial injustice was coming down this week. The Commonwealth of Virginia announced on Sunday it would remove the 12-ton bronze statue of Monument on Monument Ave on Wednesdays, stashing it in a secure state-owned storage site until a decision on its future is finalized. Well, they said something other than this, but a little later, the news broadcast that said they were going to put it somewhere else so people could view it, but a museum or something like that, who knows. But why put it in the museum? Because people go in there if they're offended because it's out in public. Why put it on display in a museum? Because they'd be offended in there too. The statue scheduled takedown in this capital city comes just days after the Virginia Supreme Court unanimously ruled that Governor Ralph Northam could remove it because documents controlling its location were outdated. Oh, we're going to say it was only permitted to be there for how long, and now that those permits have expired, you can remove it. Northam, a Democrat, of course, has announced plans to remove the statue in June of 2020, 10 days after white Minneapolis policemen killed George Floyd, who was black, sparking nationwide protests. Statues honoring leaders of pro-slavery Confederate side in the American Civil War have become a focus of protests against racism in recent years. Lawsuits seeking to block the removal were filed by nearby residents who said they had a property right to keep the statue in place and it should be left alone. The court disagreed, saying the documents that controlled the statue's locations were outdated and unenforceable. Raymond Mayor, Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney said whatever replaces the statue should send the clear message that Richmond is no longer the capital of the Confederacy. We are a diverse, open, and welcoming city, and our symbols need to reflect that reality. The 6-story tall statue sits on a 40-foot granite pedestal, which will remain in place as the community reimages Monument Avenue, a tourist draw, and the Confederacy's former capital. Well, like I've said several times in different shows, Emmy, you don't know how true that is. Okay? Because I've had personal conversations with a couple of doctors and nurses that are saying no. But as I've been getting back to the statue there, as I've been saying for years, in order to destroy a person's history, you remove statues and names, regardless of whether you like the situation at the time or not, whether you were around at the time or not. If you remove these images to remind people that this stuff happened in our history, you're going to repeat it. You destroy a country's history, you have open borders, and you don't have a central language, you don't have a country. We have open borders, we are destroying our history, and we are a multilingual country, and we have no country. And so well, they're saying it is now. Well, good for them. That means that I'm a domestic terrorist 3 times over, because I'm not taking the vaccine. And if they want to try and come and force it upon me, there's going to be dire consequences. I most surely, if they come to try and force me to take the vaccine, I will not be dying because of the vaccine. Not because I'm infected with the vaccine. I may be dying because of the vaccine, because of my resistance to that idea. Well, you're right about that. They're writing the school books, but see, all that has to be reinforced by tearing down the statues so that people won't remember or even think about the past, to try and prevent that from happening, because now it's anything you say is being classified as hate speech, racial hatred, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Okay? But it's only if the whites are saying that. It is not that way if the other races say that. Okay? Though certain people call us whitey or what have you, that's not racial slur. That's not racial hatred. Okay? There is no need to have a division in the law that states that this is racial slur, this is racial hatred, this is racial assault, whatever. It should only be if you commit a crime of action against somebody that you are guilty of that crime, regardless of whether it was races, mixed races. Okay. Um, if he beats me up and I didn't start anything, then he's the one that has to go to jail. If I beat him up, then I'm the one that should go to jail. Okay. But to try and add more time on to me for being whitey, defending myself against, say, whoever, and um, that just creates and promotes further division between the races. But of course, we understand that. Well, most of us understand that. We see what they're doing. We see that they're promoting the division between the races, and it's not something that's new. Up until the Obama's got into office, this country was making great strides at uh, dismantling the racial barriers out there. But once he got in there, he set the whole thing back into the 60s. And now we have Trump who smoothed some of it over, but now we have Biden in there who is now kowtowing to all these groups and allowing all this shit to be done and not stopping it, or not even put an effort to stop it. He's actually promoting it. So, um, anyway, um, we are in real bad hurt. Yep, that's right. Anything that you do in the lines of falling to the blackmail of this COVID, the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus, whatever you want to call it, or however you want to color it, is submission. And that is the whole point. That is the whole point. Because if they can get you to submit to their authority, then they will come along with something else. And you will they'll try to make you submit to that. And the more you submit, the less rights you have. Okay? That's right. Your freedoms are being taken away from you through a dictatorial policy out of Washington District of Criminals, headed by Joe Biden, backed up by Harris, Pelosi, and the lady from Michigan. I keep forgetting her name, but anyway. If they are vaccinated against the disease, Joe, if they are vaccinated, then why would we be a threat to them? Because they have been vaccinated. And if the vaccine is so great and works like it's supposed to, they shouldn't get it, even if we have it. So if they're telling us that we are the threat to the vaccinated, they're full of brown stuff that comes out the back end of my butt. So anyway, guys, all I can tell you, kids, is stay frosty, and I mean it. Stay frosty. Hug your rifle tonight. That's something we haven't forgot. Or that's something we forgot to say on the show, and mainly because I forgot about it when Mike passed away. But I'm going to try to remember to close tonight. Don't forget to hug your rifle. Okay, because someday you might need it. That's something else. Thank you, Uncle Bob, about that. These judges that are coming out and giving the okays to do certain things in this country that is going against the constitutional rights of freedom of speech or anything else need to be removed from office. Most of them are elected. So when they come up for election, it doesn't matter what state you're in, when they come up for election, you fire them. You don't send them back. Okay, that's the same thing that needs to be done in Congress. These people are down there. I know it's probably too late. I'm preaching to the choir. But the thing of it is, you have to fire these people. And not every state has recall, but every state that has recall should be recalling all these idiots that were supposedly worked for them. Texas, for example, I don't know if they have recall, but all those Democrats that left the state to avoid passage of the voting on and passing the new voting laws down there should be removed from office and should be done by recall to get their asses out of there. And but that takes initiative, and I find as time goes on, kids' initiative is waning in this country. Um, we're almost to the point where we're willing to sit back and accept tyranny. Now, there's going to be some of us that won't, and because we won't accept it, we will probably die. Um, but if that comes to be, all I can say is I hope I die of a cramped trigger finger and send a bunch of these bastards to hell. So, no, I can't send them to hell. Arrange a meeting with God and He can send them to hell. I'm sorry. Yes, I was just reading something about that today, Uncle Bob, that the virus has a 1% mortality rate and the vaccine is having a 7%, and there's untold numbers of people suffering problems with whatever, making women sterile, probably makes men sterile, and the long-term effects. There's been heart damage to some of the other people. Who knows what all is out there? And yeah, well, like I say, I've been saying that for years too, kids. That's part of the reason I got in trouble years ago. Because when they came to arrest me, they sent 25 agents to arrest me, and and that's because they were afraid that if they caught me at home, they had to catch me on the street. If they caught me at home, they were afraid that there had been some problems, and in which case probably would have been. But they don't have to worry about that now because I don't have anything to defend myself with, and all I can do is beat feet to somebody's. I've had offers for weapons when I need it. Let's put it that way. Micro strokes, yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the side things that I have read about on this COVID, well, I didn't read about it. It came from authorities inside the hospitals, and that one of the biggest problems with the COVID virus, it thickens the blood, makes it form into blood clots. And it's the blood clots that are what killing people. So part of the treatment should be being given a anticoagulant. The Italians started using it, and their mortality rate started to drop. And I have a personal acquaintance inside the medical profession that has been working with COVID patients, and she was checking their blood about every 8 hours for blood clotting, and she was called on the carpet for doing that. Well, My stogie went out finally after about an hour, so that's okay. I got my dollar's worth. So, anyway, that's how we're stacking up out there as far as shit goes, and there's more shit to come. I don't have the story, but there's a small town in, I forget the state. Jesus, God. So I usually I go through the thing and I look for stories, and it really isn't what I want to talk about, but it is. But I sidetrack it because I want to go. I'm searching other stations because, like I say, I spend about 2 hours a night searching the internet for information. But there's a small town out in the Midwest. I'm not sure what state. Anyway, the city council had been wanting to push defund the police department in their town. Well, the police chief got tired of the bullshit, so he walked into his office and typed up a letter of resignation and turned it in, and all the policemen in that town did the same thing. You're going to defund the police? Well, we're going to make it easy for you. We're all resigning our office or commission. And so um, police don't like it. There are some towns that don't like it. There are some places that do. Of course, the big cities, they like it because they're saving money on on their budget. But not only are they saving money on their budget, but they are killing their city. And as time goes on, more and more people are leaving. I just hope that when they do leave, they go to other states. Excuse me, they don't take that bunch of bullshit with them. So, okay, it's about 5 minutes to 7, kids. I'm going to take a break and bring up. Um, okay, where'd you go? Oh, here we are. Bring up some musica. You know, musica. Okay, where'd you go? Damn. Yeah. Damn it, where'd you go? Come on. Anyway. Okay, looks like I have. So, cleaned it up and set it up earlier. Now, let's get you to stay kaput. Here we go. Well, where did you go? I pushed bookmark and you were not there. All right. Okay. What's going on here? There we go. It's back. Don't know what we did, but it's back. All right. Where'd it go? I had.
Rain is pouring, the wind is howling, the skies are dark and dim. Something's got a hold on you and drains you from within. Tangled up in the world of sorrow, you lost belief in a better tomorrow. Don't surrender, stand your ground. Time to turn around. Burn down the bridges and leave it all behind. Turn on the music, let it purify your mind. Shout it out and play it loud, 'cause this is what it's all about. Heavy metal never dies. Heavy metal never dies. Raise your head up to the sky and let the music take you high. May your inner warrior rise again in pride. Burn down the bridges and leave it all behind. Turn on the music to purify your mind. Shout it out and play it loud, 'cause this is what it's all about. Heavy metal never dies. Heavy metal never and by the power of metal you'll be strong to become yourself all behind. Turn on the music, let it purify your mind. Shout it out and play it loud, 'cause this is what it's all about. Heavy metal never dies. Shout it Family that never dies. Family that never dies. Liberty or death, walking so proudly here. Once you promote her, rattling of a tail. Never begins it, never once engaged, never surrenders, showing the pain of rage. Seductress, so be it. Right no more to secure pieces to prepare for war. So be it. Settle the score. Touch me again for the evermore. Love it or leave it. She with the deadly bite. It's the blue tongue. Walked as a lightning strike. Shining with brightness. Always in surveillance. And now we never knows. Emblem of vigilance. No. So be it. Dread no more. To secure pieces. To prepare for war. So be it. Settle the score. Touch me again with the words that you will hear evermore. Don't tread on me. So be it. Dread no more. To secure pieces. To prepare for war. Liberty or death. Always so proudly here. Once you provoke her. Rattling of our tail. So be it. Dread no more. To secure pieces. To prepare for war. So be it. Settle the score. Touch me again for the words that you will hear evermore. Don't tread on me.
Okay, kids, we're back. We's back. I thought my voice was okay, but it gone shitty in the last minute. And John on Facebook, why, send him a message. Tell him we miss him here at the studio. And that, but I enjoyed having Sandra in here and giving her comments. The one side events. It's too bad Cannabis can't make it back here, but that's the way it goes. Okay. All right, let's get back to. I'm skipping around tonight because that is the way it goes. Is that Sasquatch out the window? Hey, I thought they quit giving LSD out here back in the 60s and 70s. Bob, Uncle Bob, if you got a little extra, I could use some. Anything to break the not monotony, but the stupidity out there. Okay, Border Patrol tries to fill holes in border wall that Biden left. After President Joe Biden took office in January and ordered the southern border wall to stop being built, a major hole was left at Border Monument 3, one of the most vulnerable areas of the southern border. Now, in addition to this, since this story was out, I picked this up on September the 6th. The several different courts have ordered Biden to restart the wall that he was not allowed, or he did not have the authority to stop the wall. So I don't know if anything is transpiring there yet. I haven't seen whether construction is restarted or not. This area in the El Paso sector is where Texas, New Mexico, and Mexico meet. A 20-foot gap is the area. In this area was allowing illegal aliens and smugglers to easily cross U.S. border. Patrol agents told the New York Post. Richard Barragan, an agent in the El Paso sector, told the Post that the contractors just stopped and pointed to the broken wall in the area after contractors stopped building the wall after Biden took office. Agents also said that thousands of tons of building material, including steel, have gathered rust since Biden ordered the stop of the wall's construction. So the material is there, he's just not letting it go. Agents decided to take it upon themselves to fill the gaps left in the wall by using both pieces of material left behind by these federal contractors and other materials, such as old truck tires. Barragan, said that we have some agents who are good welders, and they put it all together and added that any infrastructure is helpful to us. These are just some of the challenges we face every day. El Paso Sector Chief Patrol Agent Gloria Chavez said that the wall enhances my officer's safety and delays entry and allows the agents to have advantage. Additionally, it protects the agent. Post notes that over the last year, attacks from Border Patrol agents and smugglers and traffickers have nearly doubled in the El Paso sector from 23 in fiscal year 2020 to 40 so far this year. So we have a situation where a border is actually an open fire zone from Mexico. And most of the time, the agents don't have the weapons with them to be able to fire back. Um, and yeah, we don't have no Sasquatch here. Hairy man, yes. And I tell you the truth, I saw him the other day and offered to pay for a haircut, but he had no part of it. He just growled at me and kept on walking. So anyhow, we have the border agents trying to do the right thing in defiance of the feds. Of course, the border agents are feds, but in defiance of Biden, they plugged a hole. Now, however, okay, let's see. No kidding. Night before last, I had night terror. Dude, I was patrolling with short and hairy man, dead over 8 foot, too big to gut and drag. He took a small piece for DNA sequencing. Okay, I want to know what the results are. I want to know. You know me, I'm like those scandal sheets in the fast, you know, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Scandal sheets. I got to know wherever they are. Okay, here's one for you. A comment from Trump concerning the Afghan shit. This is on Newsmax. This come out on September 7th, which is last Tuesday. Last Tuesday. This is by Eric Mark. Moved by the imminent 20th anniversary of 9/11, former President Trump appeared on Newsmax on Tuesday night and delivered a stark message on American security. He said he built the U.S. military only to see it humiliated in Afghanistan. That was a day like no other day, Trump told uh, um, told Tuesday Robert Schmidt tonight. 911 in an exclusive interview. That's why we have to be careful. That's why we rebuild our military. Unfortunately, they gave some of what I had rebuilt it. They gave it to the Taliban. Can you believe that? Yeah, when they left tons of supplies back there. According to former president, not only did President Joe Biden's military botch the troops' withdrawal from the longest running war in American history, by doing it unconditionally, our enemy has learned in the process. Trump told host Robert Smith, a brand new Apache, the most incredible weapon we have ever seen, the Apache helicopter, brand new out of the box, as they say, and they got him. We don't know how many because the Pentagon will probably not release those figures because it'll probably just agitate the American public even more. But so he was referring to Taliban fighters who took over the country without a fight from U.S. trained Afghan army. They're giving them to China, and they are giving them to Russia and Iran, and they are studying them because they want to make them just like that. In a wide range, 15-minute interview, Trump denounced Biden for what he deems a failed execution of withdrawal without first securing evacuations for American citizens and while leaving sophisticated weapons and other material behind. Look at what's happened to our country in the past 8 months, Trump said. I don't think our country has even seen a period like this. How badly we are doing. The worst of all is what took place in Afghanistan. Withdrawal was most incompetently handled withdrawal or anything else in the history of our country. We're embarrassed in front of the world. We give them 850 billion of the best military equipment in the world. They have never been greater embarrassment than we've suffered this last week. Schmidt asked Trump about early Biden attempts to fault the Trump administration for withdrawal problems. Trump reiterated in recent talking point is asserting that the Taliban knew to not mess around when he was president. Biden's, he said, was one who failed to hold the Taliban accountable for sticking to the previous administration's conditions-based withdrawal. You just take a look at the last few months, and when the whole thing fell down, Trump said, "I was not there, and it all fell down." Can you imagine getting the military out before you get your citizens, American people out? Trump continued. They took the military out first. I would have taken it out last. Okay, well, there's more going on there, but I'm not going to do anything. There's planes and helicopters. Um, imagine there's Humvees, mighty me tanks, tons and tons of munitions, and all left behind. Oh yeah, and not only the combat equipment, but the computers with the intelligence that the U.S. had gathered was left behind too. Yeah, well, like I say, at that Air Force base there that you were talking about, Jack, I think that's the one where the large computer stash or intelligence stash of intelligence for the area was being kept, and that's in the computers. So they will have programming in it that would probably help the Chinese, even if they know the information that's there. Might help them be able to hack our military or hack our computer system or our security systems. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I said this before, I think, but I'm going to repeat it. The situation that we had, well, Uncle Bob, you're right to a certain point. So-called American citizens had no business even being there. Well, it depends on what their job was that they were there for. Okay, if they were there to try and help train the Taliban, or not Taliban, but the Afghan military in how to defend themselves or set up a meaningful government and helping them set up schools for the women and help organize sports because I mean they had all these sports programs and all. If you paid attention to the news, all that has been stopped under the Taliban since they've taken over. Um, so all the structure building that they were trying to do to set up a stabilized form of government all fell apart. Okay, uh, so if they're most likely they were there at the behest of the U.S. government to go in and do stuff to do this. So if it is, it's our responsibility to get them out of there. Um, yeah, that. So that was another thing that Biden didn't do. He didn't get them out first. And since then, there's been at least two planes come out with by private citizens that have brought 400 or 500 people out now. I think it is, and of them there was. I'm not sure if it was 200 Americans on board, but there was a bunch of Americans on board. Yeah, it was a wasted effort because number one, Muslims, especially the jihadists, under their Quran, are allowed to lie to achieve a objective. Now, once that's said, if you remember when Mr. T was here and talking about stuff, you could not turn your back on any of the uh, Afghan military or the Afghan army because some of them were the same as what they were in Vietnam. They were double agents, and given the opportunity, they would have put a bullet in the back of your head. The the groundwork for this debacle was set back under the Obama administration when he freed all those. He didn't free all of them, but he freed a majority of the captives, the Taliban captives down in were being held at Guantanamo Bay, that orchestrated the takeover. Now, I have to throw my 2 cents in. If any of you have ever read the book Sun Tzu, in it, One of the things he tells about defeating the enemy is you have to take ground and you have to hold that ground. You just can't go bouncing around from hill to hill, killing the enemy off and leave the other hill that you just cleared unprotected. You have to take that and hold it. And you have to destroy their will to fight. And, well, how could they do jumping jacks? They're cannabis. They're too busy riding the humps of the camel. Yeah, they are. They've been at war with each other for years, for 2,000 years or more, and we're not about to change that pattern because they don't want to change it. um, so the best thing for the world is to stay out of that area and let them kill each other off. And so um, the after World War One was over, there was an attempt to set up a Arab nation, okay, or Arab League of Nations, but because they had no I want to say it allegiance to each other, they didn't have mechanical aptitude. They couldn't form a central government, and they couldn't even keep the electricity or water pumps working because they had no mechanical aptitude. That's why even today you see so many uh, contractors over there in those nations, especially like Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, where they have a lot of oil and shit. They have people coming in and doing the work for them because they got so much money for the oil that they, can afford to have them come in. And but yeah, chivalry, humanity. You're right. They don't. So anyhow, yeah, they are great. Well, Scotty and I were coming up with an idea with all that equipment that was left over there that we ought to try and find somebody that is working with the Taliban now in some embassy or something like that, and send them a offer that we would like to buy some of that equipment back. We're willing to trade goats for say we'll trade you 20 goats for a Hummer, and but so yeah, we should. And I've said this even in Vietnam when we were fighting in Vietnam. Uh, we followed the same program. If you watched Vietnam, we did the same thing. We took a spot, we turned around and left it. Yeah, um, we did put some outposts on some of the key hills to be able to overlook valleys and stuff that we didn't take and protect the villagers or the villages. So when we went through and did our search during the day, the VC were right back in during the night. So if you paid attention to the tactics that were used at Desert Dust One, it took us 6 months to get the supplies and manpower over there to fight. But here's the point: we don't have our next enemy is not going to give us 6 months. Okay, but when we did finally get our troops there and we attacked Iraq, we rolled through there and captured territory until the Iraqis decided to surrender. Okay, they were forced to surrender because we were taking territory. Were there isolated pockets of Iraqis behind us? Yes, there were. But they were cut off. They had no communications, and they surrendered. Most of them did. Some of them fought. But anyway, the thing of it was, we fought that war the way it should have been fought. take ground, seize it, and hold it. Here we are over in Afghanistan for 20 years, and we still couldn't get the idea to send enough troops over there to do the job and do it right, and that is to take ground and hold it. And but I'm just a little peon that has no. I'm not a diplomat. Okay, I'm not diplomatic. I have something to say. I'm going to say it. I don't mix words. I don't beat around the bush. That way, it's a lot harder to misconstrue what I'm saying. And yep, they'll try to aim that on us, GI. Um, um, right now, the calling card for the commies in power is anti-vaxxers and gun controllers or gun owners. Well, I don't know if it'll be that soon, but I would definitely be wary because the government officials in key places are telling you that we are now open to attack again because of what we did. Speaking of global warming, I don't have that story, but it seems that I believe it was the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, who has the weather department in it, came out with a statement, at least some of the scientists down there, that the Arctic ice cap has grown by 77,000 miles, 77,000 square miles. And it is growing at it's growing at the rate of 15% a year for the last 2 years. So remember, if I remember here not too long ago, they said the Earth had tipped another degree or so on its axis. So if that is the case, then the southern hemisphere is having a cool down because of the change in the angle of the sun on the southern hemisphere. So anyway, you're right. We let the commies subvert our institutions. We let the psychiatrists in to the schools. And if you read the Communist Manifesto, one of the 10 planks is get the psychiatrists in control of the schools. And then once you do that, Johnny can't do the spelling bees because if he misspells a word in front of his class, he lowers his self-esteem. He can't do the times tables because, if he should miss one, would lower his self-esteem. And they're now teaching the kids. They're now gender confusing the kids. Let's put it that way. Because the kids don't know what gender they are. Oh well, they should be allowed. If he's a boy and he feels like a girl, he should be able to go to the girls' restroom, and vice versa. The girl should be able to go to the boys' restroom if they feel like they're a boy. And when it comes time to take in gym, if the boy feels like he's growing, he should be able to go take a shower with the girls, and vice versa. And all I can say about these psychiatrists ain't worth the pot to piss in when it comes to that kind of a theory. Because there's only two sexes out there, and it's very easy to tell. And all you gotta do is look down. If you got something dangling there, you're a male. If there isn't anything dangling there, then you're a female. So, oh yes, and there is the woke program. Okay, there's a lot of schools that are School districts are starting to fight back on the woke program and outlawing it in some of the states. I forget how many states. God, I just saw that. I wish my mind were better at this. But yeah, some of the states have banned the woke program. And what was the one before that? The new math. And there was another one after new math before the woke, and that. And so some of them have started to fight back. Critical race theory, yes. Critical race theory. Um, they're starting to ban that kind of stuff because it has turned out to be all this is a front for communism. It's a tool they're using to divide the country and get the races to fight among the people, among themselves. And the ultimate goal is, with the weakening of our military and the weakening of our government, the ultimate goal is to bring foreign troops vis-a-vis the UN in to police us and put us in the final subjectivity to the communist world plot. And something else this week, not this week, about 2 weeks ago, I was reading on the internet that there is a professor down in, I think it was Duquesne, down in Pittsburgh. It was a Pittsburgh college, but I think it was Duquesne. He happened to be a white professor. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a psychiatrist, but don't hold me to that. Don't pin me to that. He made the statement that white people are the problem with the world, everything. Okay? So he suggested that all the white people should commit suicide and rid the world of their presence. Well, I look at it this way. If you truly believe that the white man should commit suicide and purge himself from the world, let you be the first. Lead by example. But he won't do that. So, and he's not the first one to come out and do that either, come out and say that. There have been several other so-called rich and famous who have said that. And, yeah. So anyway, up here in Meadville at the school district, I don't think they are considering the CRT, but there are people that got signs in your yard posting no CRT. And of course, I wonder how many people actually know what CRT stands for and what the real message of it is. All of them. Yeah, if it's good for us to commit suicide, then G.I. Joe, how many of them can we make die? All of them. So I wouldn't want any of them to feel left out. So anyhow, okay, let's see. What do we got next here? Yes. This is off of Newsmax. Emails show State Department obstruction of Afghan rescues. September the 7th. A private email leaked to the media shows that the State Department refused to grant approval for private flights to evacuate people left behind in Afghanistan, even as the department admitted such approval would be needed for such flights to land in a third-party country. The State Department even said that private flights containing American citizens would not be allowed to land at U.S. air bases, reported Fox News, which reviewed the emails. The American officials said military bases lack the resources to fully, fully verify flight manifest and thereby prevent possible security threats. Fox reported. Well, what you can do if you weren't such a bunch of dumbasses is let them come in, and then put them in a I want to say it, not a Christian camp, but put them in a secure housing so that they can be vented by bringing the right people in to do the venting. Or you can put them on another plane and send them on to the bases that do have that ability. Because obviously there must be some, because you have been doing that with over 200,000 that they claim that they pulled out of there. Okay, said private groups, mostly led by retired military, have been in Afghanistan trying to evacuate Americans and Afghanistans who aided the military after the Biden administration failed to evacuate them all by Biden's August 31st deadline to withdraw all troops. The White House has drawn criticism for delaying efforts of those groups, including some from Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat of Connecticut. So we have a Democrat that's realizing the stupidity here. Eric Montolov organized private flights to evacuate these unable to leave the country and shared emails with Fox News after his efforts were repeatedly thwarted by the U.S. government. No independent charters are allowed to land at Uden Air Base, the military air base that you mentioned in your communication with Samantha Power. In fact, no charters are allowed to land at the Sac Dudi base, and most, if not all, countries in the Middle Eastern region. These exceptions of perhaps with the exception of Saudi Arabia, will allow charters to land. An official wrote to Montalov on September the 1st. You need to find another destination country, and if you can't be the U.S. either. Oh, well, we won't let you come to the U.S. either, even though if you are. Let's see. The official said that some third countries may require official approval from the State Department to accept private charter flights, but that the State Department will not provide it. Once you have had decisions with the host destination country and reach an agreement, they may require some indication from the USG that we approve of this charter flight. DOS will not provide an approval, but we will provide a no objection to the destination country via the U.S. Embassy in that country. The day after that email was sent, the White House Press Secretary Gene Psaki and State Department spokesman Ned Pierce both told reporters that the Biden administration was not stopping planes leaving from Afghanistan. If these charters are seeking to go to the U.S. military installation, for example, we have to weigh not only the threat to those who may be on board, especially if they're American citizens, the LPRs and other Afghans to whom we have a special commitment, but also to the safety and security of the state. Okay, well, don't need to go on anymore. Um, Here we go. Another treachery on the part of the U.S. government concerning U.S. nationals, and Yeah, that means the cannabis that Uncle Bob won't get the Peace Prize again this year. Um, he's such a bad actor. All right, we have a couple more, a little bit more here to go, and okay, this was on September the 8th. Off of Newsmax, ex-Trump official told to resign from military advisory board. Vought says no. The Biden administration has told all ex-Trump officials to resign from their appointed positions to the advisory boards of the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, and West Point, including Russ Vaught, the former director of the Office of Management and Budget, who on Wednesday refused to do so. No, it's a 3-year term. White House Vaught tweeted early Wednesday, along with a copy of a letter from the White House requesting his resignation. On behalf of the President Biden, I'm writing to request your resignation as member of the board of visitors to the U.S. Naval Academy. Reads the letter from Catherine M. Russell, Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office of Presidential Personnel. Please submit your registration to me by the close of business today. Should we not receive your resignation, your position with the board will be terminated effectively at 6 p.m. tonight. Thank you. Newsmax. Newsmax anchor Sean Spicer, also a member of the Naval Academy Board, received the same letter. He clapped back against the Biden administration and specifically White House Press Secretary Jean Paskey, who said the president's objective is to ensure you have nominees and people serving on these boards who are qualified to serve on them and who are aligned with your values. She crossed the line today, Spicer said on his show, Spicer and Company. Joining the military and wearing the uniform of this amazing country remains one of the greatest decisions of my life. For 22 years, I've had the honor of serving alongside some of the most talented, patriotic, and brave individuals this country has to offer. I'm most proud. I am proud graduate of U.S. Naval War College, and I've done military tours and policies has never entered into my service. Politics have never entered. I served under the 5 different presidents of both parties. When you wear a uniform, you serve the commander-in-chief. We take an oath to officers to the Constitution, not to the party. Each of us chose how we're going to serve this country. I would never question how anyone chose to do that. I won't question how you chose to do that, Gene. But don't you dare ever minimize or question my service to this nation. You got it. Board made up of 8 members of Congress and 6 presidential appointees meet several times a year to provide advice on issues of moral discipline, curriculum, instruction, physical equipment, fiscal affairs, academic methods for the school. Megan Mobbs, of a West Point grad and former advisor to President Donald Trump on military family issues, said she would not resign. It is tragic that this great institution is now being subject to the hijack by partisans action that serve no purpose and no greater good. Mobbs, a member of the West Point Advisory, wrote in response. Make no mistake, the move to terminate duly appointed presidential appointees sets a dangerous precedent for the future administrations and undermines our institutions. In total, CNN reports the 11 appointees have been asked to resign, including former Secretary to the President, Kathleen Conway, former National Security Advisor from the House of Representatives. And that is it. So now the Biden administration is trying to clean out Trump employees. And people out there, you're more blind than I am. And I can see where it's going by cleaning out these members off the board because they are Trump employees and they don't lockstep with Biden administration. You are setting them up to be replaced by I use the word again, communists to infiltrate and take over our military academies. And once they do that, they can change the whole thinking pattern. So, anyhow's it? I got a couple more here. I want to see. Oh, warning, warning, warning. Got this off Newsmax this afternoon. U.S. President Joe Biden will announce new steps to slow the spread of COVID-19 before the UN General Assembly meets. Surgeon General Dr. Vicky Martley said Sunday. Martley did not specify what those steps would be. Speaking to CNN on Sunday, Motley defended Biden's efforts to expand vaccinations in the United States. There will be more actions that we will continue to work on, especially in the global front, he said. The next session of the General Assembly opens Tuesday. The first day of the general debates will be the following week. So, more shit to come from the dictator down in Washington. And so, all I can tell you, kids, make sure you got okay, real quick one, and this will be the last one for the story. Make sure you have your stuff squared away. Yeah, I didn't watch any of it because of I was up in the undisclosed location putting the final touches on the door, so we now have the addition all battened up from the outside. Okay, this is off WorldNet Daily. Matters of Finance. This is by Mike Henry. America on course to be broke by October. Some people are concerned about how the U.S. national debt will affect their children or grandchildren. True, it's a bad thought, but things are worse than you might think because it's about to get very ugly, according to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The national would be flat broke in October. October is next month. If Congress does not increase the debt ceiling, the country will not be able to service its debt, Yellen said. Wednesday, in the letter to Congress, the secretary noted the severe threat of to the economy. Once all the available measures and cash on hand are fully exhausted, the United States of America will be unable to meet its obligations for the first time in history, Yellen wrote. When the Treasury Secretary fully writes out the United States of America in the letter to Congress, it's like your mother sharply addressing you by your first and middle last name. It's serious. As the Secretary in her letter, based on our best and most recent information, the most likely outcome is that the crash and extraordinary measures will be the cash and the extraordinary measures will be exhausted during the month of October. Earlier instances of congressional raising of the debt ceiling have taken time, Yellen said. The delay now causes serious harm to business and consumer confidence, raise short-term borrowing costs for taxpayers, and negative impact on creating a credit rating in the United States. A delay that calls into question the federal government's ability to meet all its obligations would likely cause irreparable damage to the U.S. economy and global finance markets. She said, at the time when American families, communities, and businesses are still suffering from the effects of the ongoing global pandemic, it would be practically irresponsible to put the full faith and credit of the United States at risk. Republicans won't approve a debt ceiling increase, according to Axis, arguing that the raise of the ceiling will only encourage more wasteful government spending. The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell Democrats can fold it into their $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill. Reconciliation only requires a majority of votes in the White House and Senate, meaning Republicans can filibuster the bill in the Senate. Anxious noted, including the debt ceiling increase and recalling it. Okay, I'm having a problem with the brain. Package that would allow McConnell to point to the Democrats having taken on the debt. However, Yellen wants no part of that. The Treasury Secretary instead have advocated the raising for a ceiling through regular order and with broad partisan support. That's basically all there is to it. So, at this point, kids, it's time to say goodbye. I normally try to give my final thoughts, but I'm drained tonight. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you'll be back next week. And I believe it was Jack, if you've talked to Sandra and John with the Facebook, tell them we miss them. Tell them to check in and say hello. And that. So, God bless the Republic. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail. And don't forget to hug your rifle. Good night.